Okay, it's a really crappy day outside, and so I was going to set up and do I was going to cut out a template for cutting gaskets. I was going to make gasket templates, on my NC machine. My coolant pump gave out, so I wanted to do some other modifications. So while I'm waiting for I ordered a new coolant pump, and I'm thinking about modifying that too. But anyway, it's bugged me on this machine that when you set your 0 point, it moves all the way to the maximum travels, and then inputs a number into your program back so that it knows where zero's at. And it always bugged me that you're always going all the way to the other end of the if you're set up in the middle of the table, you go all the way to the end of the table and then back. Or if you're set at the other end of the table, because I like to move my setup around on the mill. I don't like constantly having the vise or the setups in the center of the table, because basically you're shortening the life of your machine because you're not using the whole travel. You wear the ways out in one spot. So I like to move it out. One day it'll be on the right side, the next day it'll be on the left side, inside, or close to the front, close to the back. Anyway, I move it around. But it's always bugged me at how it finds its set position. I'll fire it up here, and I'll give you and this is a CNC Masters machine. It has good points. It had, the price wise. It has been a pretty decent machine. The only trouble I've really had with the thing is their software for cutter comp really is not not desirable. So I've been finding myself going in and changing my program quick to accommodate a reground end mill, and rather than try to use the cutter comp at all. But other than that, it's been a fairly decent machine for the price. It's a good hobby machine. I would not want to probably end up, unless the production parts that you were doing were plus minus 5 on everything. I don't think I'd want to use this for producing parts that I was going to sell. But for a hobby shop, it's a good little machine. But anyway, I'm going to show you just how it finds its 0 point. So I'm going to fire it up here and see if I can back up a little bit here. Get you here. Okay. Still can't see the whole thing, can you? Let's move you over here. I'll move over here. There, you can kind of see the machine, and I'm going to run it. I got a computer set up dedicated for it, but today I'm just running it off my laptop, which is I got it set up over here on the surface plate. So I'll fire it up, and then I will. And where it's sitting right now, I'm going to tell it that it's. It doesn't want to pick up. I'll have to exit out of the program. Just wait a minute here. I got to exit out of the program and restart, so. Okay, I had to exit the program and then restart it. But I have everything turned on. My exit, everything is 0 where it's at right now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to set my zero home on the machine, and I'm just going to show you, how it finds its home. I got the feed rate slowed down a little bit too, so I'm just going to come all the way out, feed in. It finds its max travel is what it's doing. And the modification I'm going to do, I'll be able to slide my max travel around. I'm going to set up a travel. It's a little travel indicator off of here, and I'll have it so that I can adjust them. See, now it knows where the max travel is, and it puts those numbers that it moved off of 0 into your program. So if I do this and be able to move them around, it'll only travel. I can have a part that's only going to use this much travel, and I can set my stop there, and it'll come over and find that stop instead of wasting all that movement there. So anyway, that's what I'm going to dink around with today. It's crappy outside, like I said, and as I make parts, I'll come back. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, which is loose already anyway. I'm going to take this off right here. It's the positive stop, which on an NC machine, why do you have that? You don't really need that there. I mean, that's, to me, that's just garbage. They should have just took that off, thrown it away. But I'm going to take and make a mount for this, and I'm going to mount that right there. It'd be like that. And I'm going to use this T slot, and I'm going to make basically some ramps that'll ride up on these little there's a micro switch inside, sealed inside, and the wire is already ran for me. All I got to do is go around and jump her in. I don't need to take off the switches that are there. I'll leave them there. I won't even mess with those. But I will make a bracket to fit that, and I'll have a maximum slide, and then I'll have 2 other slides that I can slide so that the machine only has to go a short distance. If I'm over here, it'll only go poop. So I think that'll be a good addition to this machine. But like I say, it's been a pretty good machine. I've used it for a lot of stuff, and it's performed very well for like I say, for the price. So I really don't have anything bad to say about the machine. Anyway, I will come back as I make parts. Okay, I think I come up with a plan. I'm going to take just a piece of angle iron. It's actually angle aluminum, and I'm going to take and go ahead and drill the holes in the short face here. I'm going to drill the holes in the short face, and then when I come to mount the main block on there, I'll have to create a little wedge, basically a wedge to wedge that up at the right angle. I think it was like 29 degrees, I figured it out to be. So basically all I'm going to do is drill a couple holes in this, and then do some milling on it to probably mill it down to the width of this, you know, and then put a wedge in there to get it to the right. Basically I'll just put a wedge in it to get it to the right angle, you know, because you got to match this angle here, you know, from here up. So that'll get bolted on over there like that, and then I'll have a 30-degree wedge in there, which will set that at the right height or right angle. And with this angle right up against it like that, it'll be at about the right position too for me. So I think this will work pretty good. I will let you know if it doesn't work. Well, it doesn't hurt to try anyway. It's like I said, it's kind of bugged me ever since I got that machine. I know all the machines do that. They move to the end of the travel and back, unless they're a servo motor. This isn't a servo motor NC, it's a stepper motor, so it has to find its, for lack of words, it has to find its shit, you know, where it's at, and then put the numbers in and then move it back. So with this, the way that I plan on setting it up, it won't have to do that anymore. So we'll see. Okay, I got the bracket kind of roughed out and mounted on the machine over here. look at it. You can see right here. And now I'm gonna cut a wedge to fit across there to level out the switch. So I'm over on the mill. And I started cutting a wedge over here. Where are we at? Okay, there we go. So, and if you don't have one of these little angle deals in your shop, I would highly recommend it. I wish they would have been around when I was out in the tooling shop, instead of grabbing blocks and whatnot to put something at an angle in a vise. These things are pretty darn accurate. Anyway, you just put it on your vise and zero it out. And then what I did was I just clamped my block in, or set my block in there and turned it to the angle that I wanted and clamped it, and I started cutting there. And I'll finish cutting that. I want to cut that down to a point there and then go over, and then I'll end up fitting it. I'll be fitting it on the switch and then drilling holes, but I'm gingerly cutting it because I don't have it clamped real tight, and I'm way over here. I should have had it in the center of the. I sometimes mess up and do that. I put it on the edge of the vise like that, and that's not a good thing. That's not a good practice. A good practice is always to try to keep it in the center of the vise, because the vise jaws can go out of parallel depending on how much slop you have here and be only touching on one spot. But so far I've gotten away with it here. So I've just kind of taken a little at a time here, about 50 thou at a crack, and a 5/16 end mill in there. Actually, it's an undersized, because I believe this is one of them that I sharpened. And it's pretty good though. Yeah, I'm getting sidetracked from my engine again. I get distracted very easy when I get out in the shop. I go, oh, what do I want to work on today? And then, you know, I had intentions of working on my V8, and then that flood coolant problem, and then after that, it just I got sidetracked again. I get distracted when I get out in the shop by other things. So zoom me back out here. Here it is, and then this, by the way, this is used one that I bought. We used to have 5S auctions or sales at our company, and I think I got this like for 50 cents. And it's got 3 mica switches embedded in it, and they all work. There's nothing wrong with it, and it's sealed. It's a sealed unit, and wires will end up going in here and hooking onto these 3 switches. So I'll use one for my maximum over travel, the center one, and then probably the bottom one for left and top one for right. Anyway, I think it's going to work pretty good. But this is going to go on there, and it's going to get mounted on there like that, so that it straightens it out. So let's go back over to the mill here and kind of show you. Let's see if we can kind of zoom you in on that spot. Okay, so, and again, I use my little angle deal to get what angle I actually needed to have here. So that'll get mounted onto there, and then this will get mounted to there. Oh man, that came out almost perfect, straight up and down, that angle block. So what I'll do is I will probably mill a couple slots in here at the pattern of this, I'll mill a couple slots in this, and I'll transfer them into this, and then I'll get some long bolts, socket screws, and that way I can adjust it in and out a little bit. And we should be set to go. Then I'll need to make my ramps, my actual ramps that'll trigger the micro switches, and they'll get mounted in here into this T-slot. I'll take these other the hard stops out of there. They don't need to be there either. You know, I don't quite understand why you would even put that on a CNC machine, but they did. I suppose so you don't go off the ball screw, but if you go off the ball screw, you're in trouble. Then your normal switches are not working. So I don't know if that's a safety thing that they do, or all I know is I don't like them there, and I will take them off, and I'll actually probably go use them on my my other machine. So anyway, I am going to go and lay out some slots, and when I start milling slots in those parts, I'll come back to you. Okay, after thinking this through, I don't know what I was thinking, but I ran into a bit of a snag. I cannot drill a hole all the way through and put it in a slot, because now your nut is going to be sitting at an angle in the bottom. Duh. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and drill and tap two holes in this at the angle perpendicular to that face that it's getting mounted to. Then I'm going to take and drill and tap a couple holes in the bottom here perpendicular to the bottom face of this, and then the bracket I'll mill the slots in, and then that way this will actually get mounted on here solid, and then I'll be able to loosen the bottom two screws and slide it in the bracket. So with that being said, I'm going to lay this on here and transfer some holes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and lay this on here in the position that I want it to be at. And I think what I'm going to do, I think I'm going to leave them right up against, because I'll be able to pull it back when I. So number 10 screw, 5/32 transfer punch. I think I'm going to get a square and so I can hold that square to the world. Get my adjustable square out here. Bring that up to the side. Yep, there. Need a hammer to tap that. Need 5 hands to hold it. Okay, don't need much. Just all I need is a witness mark there. Just make sure about it. Okay, let's see if I got any marks on that I can recognize. Oh yeah, if you look real close, I can see the marks. Now I'll go and center punch those. I'll go on to in my drill. So put in my drill vise, and actually I'll put it in the mill, square up this face, pick up those center marks, and drill and tap or drill a clearance hole for a number 10, short number 10 screw that'll end up. Actually, I'm still not doing this right. Oh, okay, so if I take and drill a clearance hole in here, I'm gonna have to go to the back side, counterbore it so that it's perpendicular to this surface. I can do that, I guess, then use some short number 10s You'd think that I'd have no problem figuring this out. It's what I do for a living. I actually design big hydraulic fixtures for the cargo systems on the 747, 777, A380. It's all the cargo systems on almost all the planes I've had something to do with as far as tooling. So, but sometimes it's the simplest things are the ones that bite you. But yeah, this'll work. What I'll do is I'll drill clearance holes in here, flip it around, lay this parallel, and then come back in and counterbore the backside for a number 10 screw. That will work, and then I will figure out as far as I'll probably end up going pretty close to the back here, to the back side, and drill and tap, and then put the slots in the. Okay, so let's head over to the mill again and drill and tap some holes. Did I say drill and tap? I meant drill and counterbore. There's a big difference. Okay, so I'm over back on the mill here, and I'll try to get you a shot of what I'm doing here. I'm going to take and clamp this in here, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a parallel across, like that, across the top of the jaws, and I'm going to pinch that up against that so that that bottom face is parallel to everything, so that when I drill the holes they'll be perpendicular. So now I got to pick up those points there, those marks. I could use a wiggler. I can use a wiggler to do it, or I can just put a pointer in, and I have some pointers that I have ground up. I have pointers that I have ground up just for that. They basically a point on it so that you can pick up scribe lines and marks like this. So we'll pick up this one first. Right there. So we want to drill a clearance hole for that. So we need a 3/16 drill bit. Put the drill chuck in. I actually wanted to do this a long time ago with that machine, but I was afraid that if I messed with anything like that, it would void the warranty on it. But warranty is long run out, so. And I don't think I know it's not going to hurt a thing, because their micro switches that they put in, cheap ass switches, all they do is they ground out to the machine, so I can do a much nicer micro switch and a lot nicer setup, because theirs come up and it's a dead stop. I mean, like here's the switch, the end of this end mill, and here's the machine table, and it's just coming up, bam, like that. Where my setup, the end of the switch is like that, and it's going to come in at an angle, so it can go, boop, you know, and it's not slamming against it. I never did like that, the way that is set up. But like I say, I didn't really want to mess with it. Okay. Now, if I would have checked the distance between, where did I do that? Okay, we'll check the distance between these holes. These counter bores are 324. Yeah, when you know it, they're not the same. How about this side? 25. They're both. One is smaller than the other. The threads are the same, but I'll have to measure down onto the threads. Can't get that far. Well, I guess I'll just pick up the mark, the transfer mark. I was just going to take and go ahead and just move dimensionally, but okay. I know we're not going to move it on X. Just just on Y. Right there. Okay, so now should be able to grab a number 10 cap screw counter bore, and I should be able to just flip this over. Where's my brush? Brush the chips out of there, and in there, and there. Take that over. And we'll just come down and line it up that way, maybe. Must have turned it end for end. Alright, what's going on here? Alright, tighten the vise up. Oh, it would have helped if I would have tightened the vise up before I... Normally I just use a drill press vise over here so it's not bolted down and it can float around then to where it has to go. I'm just kind of eyeballing it, bringing the pilot in and seeing which way it's deflecting. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to counterbore that. I don't know if it's going to focus in on that or not. Well, let's get to the other side here so you can see. Okay. We're looking at the light. Gotta find the part. Turn that light off. Maybe that'll help. Let's see if I can get the light to the other side. That help? Okay, you can kind of see. So now I'm going to go into, actually, that should be good enough as far as RPM. And we're just going to come in there. Until it just cleans up around the hole. The pilot might hit that. I'll move it over. That should be just about good enough right there. I'm going to call that good right there. Crank into the other hole. You can see it's deflecting off minus. So okay, move that parallel over. I don't know if that pilot would have went down and touched that parallel or not. I'll move it anyway. Just want to give it a land for that, for the screw to set against when I bolt it together. So, zoom me back out a little bit. So now I'll be able to take and bolt that right to that. I don't know if I have any number 10 screws. I will have to go looking. I think I got some Phillips screws. I'll go looking and I'll come back if I find something. Okay, I'm starting to feel like maybe I shouldn't be out in the shop today. Do you see any problems with that? How am I going to mount this on a straight with the screw sticking out? That has to be counterbored so that it's going to be flush. You know, so that this screw head is below that surface. Otherwise, I can't mount it anywhere. So I got to go another. I got to go another 210 thousandths deep for that. So, oops. You know, some days you have days like that you know, you make the wrong decisions. I haven't really. You know, I found the parts that I wanted to use, and I guess I didn't think it through all the way before I started. And lack of planning there, I guess. But that's okay. We can reset it up and no problem. And make them deeper. I got a woodpecker on the side of my garage. I don't know if you can hear it or not. Hammering away. They've been poking holes in the my siding out in the garage. Not sure why they're doing that. I'm gonna have to go out there and chase them away again. So I'm gonna turn my stop up since I know I want to go down another 200 thou. We'll do. I'm gonna cheat. Put my 1, 2, 3 block up here on top. Oops. Gotta pull it down first to where I'm at. Right there. Now I'll set this with my 1, 2, 3 block. Go away, woodpecker. Now, I have to go and fix some more holes in my siding. Yeah, darn it. Alright, so now I'll crank it up. 100, 200, 10 or so. Alright. Hold my 1, 2, 3 block up there. We can find a lot higher. Hopefully I'll have a floor left in it. Do my next. Then I can start over. Let's just take a look at that. Oh yeah, I got it over 1/8 of an inch. I wouldn't have had to go quite as deep. I think I'll back it off a little bit. And we will set up for the next one. Come on, parallel, quit tipping over. In. We'll get there eventually. It's just taking a detour. I'll definitely take a detour if I do that. Don't hold my block up there. I've already went too deep. Hopefully I got enough floor left. Darn it. Oh yeah. I caught it just in time. I didn't put my 1, 2, 3 block. I have this habit of cheating so I don't have to turn it all the way up so I can put a 1, 2, 3 block there. Well, if you forget to put it up there when you start drilling your depth, well, guess what? Ain't gonna do you any good, is it? So, but that, I caught it in time. I got a little more floor thickness than the other side, so she should be good. Deburr it up. I'll deburr it up and get it mounted on the machine and then figure out where I'm going to put the slots, and then I'll get back. Okay, I'm setting up to drill a 1/4 inch hole parallel, or I should say perpendicular to the base that's going to fit onto that bracket. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a 1/4 20 there, and then I'm going to move over and I'm going to put a stud. I'm going to Loctite a stud. So one will be a bolt and one will be a stud. I'm hoping anyway. So I need a number 7 drill. And a spot drill. And we will, oh, and then a 1/4 20 tap. Let's see the tap out here. Come on. There we go. Tap. There we go. Oil can over here. That looks good right there in that spot. I actually should be using a bigger spot drill because I like to have a little bit of a chamfer on the threads. Well, I'll just chamfer it when I get done, I guess. And just a little dab. A little dab will do ya. Now this one will be a bolt. The other one will be a stud Loctited in place because I don't want to run the risk of, well, it wouldn't hurt anything on that bracket, I guess, underneath, but I just don't want it running into that and compromising that, the micro switch box. It'll switch to low. No high speed tapping here. Now we'll move over. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a nut. I'm not exactly sure. I don't want the nuts running into each other. I'm not exactly sure. I use this big, oh, that's a 5/16 nut. I got the 1/4 inch ones. I just want to make sure, you know, I don't know off the top of my head all the clearances. I got cheat sheets when I do design work. Start to rely on cheat sheets. And I think that should do it right there. Cheat just a little bit. Gotta be careful over there, not to push too hard. Tip it up. Okay. Tap. Oh, that'll do ya. And deburr that a little bit. Okay, so this side I'm going to put a stud in. This side over here I'm going to put a stud in, and this side will be a bolt. So now we need the bracket back off of the machine so I can mill the slot for it. So I'll go take that off the machine and then I'll come back again. Okay, before I go and take that off the machine, I'm going to take and put some transfer screws, and then that way I can transfer the most inward position that is going to be in that on that bracket. So, and I haven't used these transfer screws in a long time since I left the shop, and I've been in the design area for must be going on 15 years now. So they don't get used as much as they used to. They used to get used a lot. Being in the tooling shop, you gotta have a set of these, or otherwise you have to do everything dimensionally. And a lot of times you don't do everything dimensionally, so you transfer. And so okay, so I put those two in there. That way it'll leave a mark on that bracket. So we'll go over to the machine and look at that bracket. I keep moving you around here. Okay. Let's get you in here real close. Okay. I think you can kind of see the bracket. So right here, the bracket. Now I've got the two screws protruding here, so I can put that on here, center it, and I'm going to get a rubber mallet now. Little rubber mallet, and then I'm going to tap down on it, and it's going to leave two marks on there, on that bracket. It should anyway, theoretically. Okay, so I got two marks in there, so now I can see. I can see now that my outside, I shouldn't have milled this off. I may end up making that over. I might make this over. Now I have a decision to make. I can either make that over, or I can mill that chamfer on there to move that Now I can't move it in. So it will be making this over. I'll have to make this over. I cut the end of it off. It was longer. If I wouldn't have done that, I'd have been fine. Otherwise, I'm only going to end up with one screw. Because this screw is so close to the edge, the center of it, I'd have a half a hole is all. And I don't want that. So I'm thinking be making that bracket over. No big deal, I guess. So I'll come back when I get the bracket made over again. Okay, I'm still in the process of making a bracket over. I cut a piece, drilled the holes, and I scribed out for the center cut. And I thought I'd just kind of show you the center cut. Let's see if I can scooch you in here so you can get a pretty good look at it. I got the 5/16 cutter in there again. It's actually one. Come on, light. Don't you just love these lights on these machines? That. All right, I got a scribe line here. What I want to cut out. So what I'm going to do is just kind of eyeball it to the scribe line here. I'm gonna have to move it back just a little bit to handle this in. There we go. Okay, so I'm just gonna eyeball it. I'm gonna climb cut into it. Just a little bit. Okay, so I'll take her over to the scribe line. And we'll come out. Now this is just a rough cut. I got to go back and finish it, so I'm going to get spooky out on the end here. Slow down a little bit until it spits that piece out of there. Alright, so now we'll go back and blend to that wall up to that scribe line. The scribe line and the wall, the thickness of that wall. That's pretty close right there. Take it up to the other scribe line, right up to it. And come off the part. We're not quite to the scribe line yet. This isn't really all critical, so I just kind of wanted to match the side of that switch. And we'll go over here. Now we'll do the same thing. Just kind of eyeball it. Get it within 30 thou or so of the scribe line. And we'll cut this chunk out of here. And then we'll go back, go right up to the scribe line. Okay, so now we'll go back over here. Now we'll get up to on the scribe line. This time I can see the scribe line. The light is better. The lighting is better. I'd like to have one of the lights on both sides of the machine of this. I did see somebody made a ring of LED lights. I'd kind of like to do that. Probably a future project. I made a light for my tractor using those LED lights. They're really cheap. They don't cost much. Okay, so that should be that. So now we still got the slot, and now I'll have to go and put it back on the machine over there and transfer the holes, or transfer the slot kinda, using those. Didn't get quite back, but that's close enough. I didn't get back against the wall right up against, but that's close enough. I'll deburr it and I'll get it mounted on the machine, and we'll do the same thing. I'll put that with the transfer screws, the bracket on there, and put some marks in there where my 1/4" slot is going to be, and then I'll come back to the mill and we'll cut a slot in it. Okay, I took and laid it or mounted it up and put some marks on there with my transfer screws. So now we're going to put it back in here and we're going to pick up those marks. I'm going to set this in the vise again. Set this underneath to hold it straight and up off the jaw. These are 1/4" wide parallels. Tighten that up. So now I'm going to put my little pointer back in there. I'm going to find this. I'm going to find that inside spot. This isn't really critical either, as long as the slot is perpendicular to that back wall. It's fine. I mean, if it's off one way or the other, really it's not going to be no big deal. Darn light. Crank the table up a little bit. What I want to know is right about where that slot should end, the center of it, and plus the center on X. Looks like right there. So now I need to round up a 1/4", full-size 1/4" head mill. I need a full-size one, or I can adjust back and forth, I guess, side to side. It doesn't need to be exact. Let's see what this end mill is. This looks like a full-size end mill anyway, so should work. Should work for what I want. Now we're going to crank the table up. I got my X lock. We'll crank the table up until it punches through. Okay, we're through, and that end will have radius on it, so crank it a little more. Brush here. Yeah. Come on. That would make me. There we go. That way I can kind of see how far out I want to come. I think I am going to widen it just a little bit anyway. So I'm going to crank over on my X, head down, and then come back out. Give me a little bit of clearance. And that should do it. And now I'll radius all the corners and pretty it up a little bit. Okay, bracket is done, and now I'm going to mount it on the machine here and see how it looks. We'll get it mounted on here. Okay, now we'll need to take the transfer screws out of this. And then we'll have to mount it on the mount it on the switch. We want it to go this way. It can be mounted both ways too, this way or this way, but we want it this way here. Just like that. Yep. I have to hunt for a 1/4-20 stud or cut a bolt off. One or the other. I guess I could cut a bolt off too. For the one with it's going to be short. Like I say, I could probably just size a bolt up the right size and get by, but with it, but I'd rather not. If I Loctite a stud in there, that way it's okay. Tighten them up. Oh yeah, that's going to be nice. Okay, I didn't get a short 1/4 inch bolt. Looks like everything I got is pretty long. So look at this. Don't need it that long. I just want a little stubby one there. But that's gonna work out pretty good, I think. Okay, so I'll need to cut off a 1/4 inch bolt, and then for a stud. Matter of fact, I'm debating now. I might just put studs in both those holes, cut 2 bolts off, and then put 2 studs there, and then nuts from underneath. So I'll come back when I get them in place, and I'll get it mounted, and I'll show you what it looks like when I'm done. And then it'll be a matter of wiring it in to the existing, and then making my ramps. And when I make my ramps, I'll get something sketched up, and then I'll come back and I'll show you what I'm doing there. Okay, I got it mounted on, and the next thing would be to make the little ramps for it. And mounted on, they're okay. So you can see right here, and I'll have the ramps here. I don't know, left side maybe the bottom, and then right side. So it'll have a little ramp right here that'll come in, and basically it'll come in and like that, and then catch that switch like that. I don't know if you can see that or not, but it'll just, and then the center one will be over travel, and that'll be the over travel for both sides, left and right. I'll have that on the center one. So when I get to making the ramps, I'll probably get back with you and show you how it's going. Once I get the ramps made, then it's a matter of splicing into the micro switches that they've already got. They're so-called micro switches that they got there already. Not happy with their switches. They could do a little bit better job on their switches. The machine itself is a good machine, but there's little tweaks here and there that they could be doing to make it a whole lot better. So, but anyway, I will come back when I'm doing the ramps. I don't know if I'm going to get to that today or not. I'm going to try to sketch something up here, and we'll see how long that takes me. Until then. Okay, I got some blanks made for the T-slot, or for the T-slot over there. And I'll look over here, and so the chamfer side goes down. They go in there, and they'll slide in, and they'll hit the little. But I got it now. I'll mill the ramp on, and each one of these, I think I can cut in half. I can make two out of each one. I'll cut probably. I'm going to start with maybe a 15-degree angle on each end, and we'll see how it slides through and activates that micro switch. And plus, I decided I really don't need to wire all three of those micro switches. If I wire the middle one, that'll work just fine. So there'll be two riding along that really won't be doing anything. Okay, back over here on the mill. We're going to set up one of these blanks and cut a 15-degree angle on it. And I've got my little angle what is it called? Remote angle gauge. I'll set it on here and zero it out. Come on. 0. And then I'll put it over here on the part. And we'll set it. Yeah, 15 I think might be a little too much. Let's go 10 once. This is just kind of like flying by the seat of my pants. I didn't draw anything out. I just grabbed a couple pieces of tool steel and started whittling. I grabbed tool steel, and if they show, after I put them on the machine, and if they show any signs of wear where the micro switch is riding, I'll go and I'll heat treat them. But if they don't show any signs of wear, I'm not gonna bother. Okay, get a 45-degree cutter in there right now. Take that out. Get a resharpened 3/4 inch here. Over a little bit. Come on. Oh. Ah. Okay. So we'll just buzz across that. Bring it down until it just touches. The 3/4 flute, it does have a corner radius on that cutter. Cuts nice, so it's resharpened. I'm not sure how far I have to go, so I'm going to stop right there. I'm going to stop right there. And we'll see what that looks like over on the switch. little more, and I think I am going to change the angle a little bit yet. Still not happy with the angle. I went 10 there. I'm gonna go 12. Set this back on here. Zero it out. Set it back on the part. And now I'm gonna adjust it to 12. Like I say, I'm flying by the seat of my pants. Sometimes that's alright, sometimes it doesn't work out. 11. Yep, gotta let it move all the way here a little bit. Spindle's hitting it. 11 and a half. Whoops, 13. $12 and a quarter. Okay. So move that back up. Okay, I'll go and eyeball that and see what that looks like. Now I'm debating whether to go back to the 15 where I started. I think I am. I think I'm going to set it up at 15. I should have left it alone. It just looked like it was a little too steep, but I think it would have worked out just fine. So we're gonna go ahead and go for it. We're gonna set it at 15, clean that up, and then cut the other side. About 15 and a half. There, and now we'll turn it around and we'll set 15 on this side. Still at 0. Okay, come on. Darn fly bothering me here. Fly buzzing around the shop. At 15 and 10. 15.1. These will be the two. I'm going to cut it in half. I'm going to drill the holes, cut it in half, and drill. 2 holes in it, and I'm going to cut it in half. These will be the 2 end stops. When I go to mount these on, I'll show you one more thing that I didn't like about where they have their stops, their micro switches at. Okay. Now, I just need to poke a couple holes in there and then I'll bandsaw it right in half. So, this should work really good. I think it's going to work. It's going to work out really nice for what I want. No more running way down to the other end just to get a 0 set. Okay. I might as well do the other one right away too. I only need 3 of them, but I'll have enough for 4, so I'll have an extra one. Ooh. Don't want to wreck that. What happened here? Must have been pitching right on the radius on the corner of that. That's not good. Not good for your equipment. Still reading 0 there. Okay. One more side. Turn that off. Okay. All right, I'm going to take you over to the mill and kind of let you get an eyeball on what I'm doing over there. Okay, I got you zoomed in on the switch there, and this will go in here. There'll be a bolt in here, and when it comes over, it's going to come in and see. It's going to hit the bottom too. See the top one. I should have made this a little taller, but so either one of the bottom two, it'll hit. I could actually take the top. I could take this down. I want it to be able to ride completely over it. So looks like I'm going to have to take the overall thickness down. So I'm going to go do that and then I'll be back. Okay, battery went dead on my camera, so I'm not sure if we missed anything, but I didn't like the way it was pushing on 2 or 3 of those at the same time. It was putting a lot more pressure on that than it needs to be, so I cut it so it's only going to hit on one. So that'll slide in there and it'll hit on the bottom one and activate it. So now I just need to poke a couple holes in it, and I'll have to poke a couple holes in it and make sure I chamfer it real good, because just in case it would ever go over, I don't want it to, I might have to go ahead and mill this angle on the back edge too. Matter of fact, I think I'm going to, once I poke the holes in there, just in case it would ever over travel and go over it. So I'm gonna go drill some holes. Okay, we're back over the mill. We're gonna poke some holes for cap screw, and need to put a 1/2-inch collet in here and get my drill chuck in. Come on. Okay, before I put my drill chuck in, I am going to put another center that I ground up, and what I'm going to do, put that in there. I want to center it. I want to center these holes on that rib that's going to go in that keyway. So what I'm going to do is bring this down. And use it to feel the center of the. I gotta crank the table up a little bit. Right there. And I'll lock the y-axis. On X it doesn't really matter, as long as I'm up above that ramp. And actually it makes contact about flush with the sides, and then bottoms out up there. So let's find how long these are. Whoa! Tighten that up, I guess, on my camera a little bit. Alright, so we're at about 3 inches 500. So 1 inch 750. Just kind of approximate. Let me get the center of that. Like I say, this isn't critical. This is just a bolt that's going to hold the thing in place. I think what I'm going to do is take a 3/8 cap screw and chuck it in there, just to see where that counter bore is going to come out at. So I want it to be back a ways, like that. Right there. Yeah, I think I'm going to go right there. And I need a 377 drill. I know the original bolts were here, but I'm going to make T-nuts anyway. I think I'm going to go with a much smaller screw. I think I'm going to go with like a 1/4 inch flush head screw. Do I have any? Or either that or a low. It's a Torx flush head. Because I can't have this head sticking up above. So I have to go, and I can't counterbore it. Not for a 3/8. I got to make T-nuts anyway. I'll just make them with a 1/4 inch. Decisions. I'm thinking that's what I think that's what I'm going to do. Yeah. Rethink this. Okay, so then we want instead we'll use a number H drill. And I am going to move it too. I'm going to move it over a little more, closer to the end. Yeah, I'm going to have to mill that out anyway for this. Poke another hole over here. Let's see here. That's like that. Okay, we'll do the next one. If I can find where I laid it. There it is. Make them both the same, so I'm just gonna kind of eyeball it here. Get out of here, damn fly. Right there. this ramp. Oh, I know what I did. I didn't mill this one down. I want it this height. So that'll have to be milled down yet too. I do have adjustment on that switch, on the micro switch, if I get the height wrong. It's not a super big deal. Be nice to get it right. And that's good enough right there. Okay. Now, need to countersink those down to that screw. I'm going to put a 1/2 inch nail in there. Come on. Alright. Put the table back up. That looks pretty good right there. Do that again over here. Good. Okay. Next. Looks good. All right. So now, put a half-inch, regular half-inch end mill in. And first thing I'm going to do is mill that center out of there. That doesn't need to be there. So I'll come over here, bring it down until it just touches. Lock the spindle. And we'll cut that out of there. And then plus this one is higher, I think. So let's just check that while we're here. This one is 580 and this one is 545, so about 40 thou. I want to take 40 thou off the top of that. About. Come over here. Touch. Lock. Make it up 40. Just going to double check, make sure I did that right. Oh, got it stuck. Perfect. So we'll do the same thing to this one. Mill the center out, that is. We don't have to mill the top because that one was already been milled. Off a little bit so I can touch off. This is a carbide end mill too, and when you're touching off like this, you want to be real careful. You don't want to pull real hard. You just want to touch. Normally I use my telephone paper, but otherwise you'll ruin your carbide end mill. You'll take the tip off. Okay, now we want to cut an angle on that across this, in case it would ever go up and over in here, then that it would run the chance of busting your micro switch up. So I'm just going to put a chamfer on that. I got to find something that I like, a nice small angle, but I don't think I have anything that will work for that. I could put this in and tip it up at an angle. I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put this in here, 45-degree cutter, half-inch, and what I'm going to do is open this up and set that in there at an angle. Not critical. This is just if it would ever over travel and go over the top of it. Chances are slim that that would happen. Okay. So. Oh crap. It left a shoulder up on the top. I didn't notice it. That's okay. Like I say, this angle doesn't matter. It's so smooth transition. Well, I could have filed it even. That's better. Much better. Basically, it's got a ramp on both sides, so if it over travels, goes over, it can go right back up that ramp. Okay, we'll do the same thing to the other side. I think I'm just gonna get my 1/2 inch angle back. I don't need that dang 45. That's messing me up. What I was thinking. Okay. Just kind of eyeball the right height. That's not cool. Notice how getting in a hurry here. At an angle. Some of you's probably seen that. I'm like, what are you doing? Don't you see it? Okay. No harm. Left a little mark there, but that's okay. Well, it does just need some type of ramp, not a sharp edge. Let's try this. Let's try it this way. On this one, let's try it this way right here. Better this way. That'll work. And one more time. Then I can bandsaw them in half. And I'll have 4 of them. Okay, should be good enough. It's got a funky angle on it. I must not have had that straight either. All right, well, let's go back over to the mill and see what it looks like. Okay, let's zoom in here. Gonna focus on that? Come on, focus. All right. So here's the switch, or the stop, and you move into table. It's going to hit that one, and if it over travels, it's going to go down the other side, but it can come right back both ways, and that's what I want. I want it to be able to, you know, that's going to work just fine. So I'm going to bandsaw them in half and clean them up and get them mounted. Okay, moment of truth. I got everything mounted on the machine. I got the wires temporarily tapped in to their over travel sensor, and we'll see what she'll do. You can see right here. Let's see if I can. Yeah, I just temporarily wired that in. So now I'm going to hit the rapid and let this stop go into that micro switch, and we'll see if it works the way it's supposed to. Okay, here we go. Ta-da! Stopped right there. Now you got to crank it off by hand, off of the stop, so I can reset. All right, let's try a rapid into it. Working just the way it's supposed to. All right, I'm gonna like it. So now I can just take and wire that in permanently. I'll run it around and underneath, because they have one underneath. I don't have to. I can tap into it. I don't have to run any wires. Just a short jumper wire is all I have to run. Then I'll be able to move the one. I was going to show you the way it was set up before. I'm going to remove my jumpers here, so it's back on their micro switches. Remove all my jumpers, and now I'll hook theirs up, and now I will run it into their micro switch. I gotta move this can out of the way so I can knock it off. Alright. I'm gonna feed it. I don't like rapiding it into it. I don't trust, quite honestly, I don't trust their micro switches. Okay, so here goes. There's where their micro switch is set. And why you would ever set it like that? Look how much of the ways are exposed. You have the ways exposed. Their switch is in underneath here. And that's what I'm going to tap in. I'm just going to run a tap wire in and then around up to here. But why you would do that? On both ends they did that. Just so they can say they have more travel. I don't like it like that. When I set that, when I set that switch, it's going to come up to this end, and that's it. I mean, this flush with that. I'm going to lose that much travel, but guess what? It's not going to bother me. That's not going to bother me one bit. I see that. There it goes. Pump some oil of on it. But that's, to me, that's not a good deal. It's just not a good deal. So I had already set this stop flush with that to where it was touching. It might be on off a little bit one way or another, but I have another T-nut in here, and that's the one where if I'm working on this end, I'll, instead of going all the way down to that one on the end over here to this, I'll have this one, I can just slide it up here and put my work envelope, you know, where I'm working in between these two, and I never have to over travel all the way to one end or all the way to the other end. I think it's going to be a really nice addition to this, because it annoys me when it's got to go all the way down to find zero. When I come back, if I leave a part set up on the table, in order to find a zero back, I either dial in the fixture or I have to go to my zero set, which is all the way to the other end. Well, now it'll change that zero set to wherever I put it. So that'll work slick. Anyway, that's the project I've been working on today, and I'm getting close to wrapping it up. I think this will be my last session for this. I'll get it posted tonight, and I'll get everything wired up, and then maybe I'll come back and show you what I'm talking about as far as moving it to my. Plus, I'm waiting for my coolant pump. That was the first thing I did on this machine. The coolant pump was in the base of the machine, and I don't like the coolant inside that base of that machine. All the way lube runs down and goes into that base of that machine and goes into your coolant. Where I took and ran the hose down to a bucket. It's underneath that lid there, and I pulled the pump out of there and put that on. It's on an external tank then. So it works much better. The coolant stays clean a lot longer. Matter of fact, I hadn't changed the coolant since the day I bought it, and now that I broke the pump, or the pump gave out on me, I'm going to change the coolant and have a new pump. And I'm still thinking about putting, instead of running their current to the pump, I might run it to a relay switch, and then I'll be able to switch between. I'll be able to switch from coolant to air. I got a electric air operated valve, and that way I can just run air on some of the things. 'Cause a lot of times I just like to run a little bit of air, blow the chips out of the way, and keep it cutting. It doesn't really need the flood coolant. The only time you're really need flood coolant is when you're hogging out a pocket or something. Then yeah, you want to have some flood coolant. But anyway, I think that'll be it for today for the video, and I'll catch you guys again later.